There is a profound difference between being heard and being truly understood, a distinction that defines the quality of every relationship you will ever have. Most of us move through life believing that to win people over, we need to be the most charismatic person in the room, armed with witty anecdotes and sharp comebacks. We treat conversation like a tennis match, eagerly waiting to hit the ball back rather than watching where it lands. However, the secret to commanding genuine trust isn't found in what you broadcast to the world, but in how you make others feel about themselves when they are with you. There are 3 specific phrases, simple in structure but devastatingly powerful in psychology, that act as a skeleton key for the human ego. When used with genuine intent, they bypass skepticism and disarm defenses, creating an immediate, visceral bond that years of small talk could never achieve. We are currently living in an epidemic of invisibility, where digital hyperconnectivity has paradoxically led to profound emotional isolation. People are desperate to be seen, not just as avatars or employees, but as complex human beings carrying unseen burdens. The mistake most people make is trying to bridge this gap by talking more, explaining faster, and projecting an image of perfection. This approach backfires because it centers the interaction on you, whereas true influence is always others-centric. The ability to make someone feel psychologically safe is the rarest currency in the modern world. If you can master the art of validating another person's reality, you stop being just another noise in their day and become a sanctuary. This isn't about manipulation or learning a script to trick people. It is about learning the language of empathy that signals to another primal brain, you are safe here. By the end of this audio, you will possess a framework that will fundamentally alter how you navigate your social and professional landscape. You will learn how to transform a tense negotiation into a collaborative partnership, how to turn a superficial acquaintance into a loyal ally, and how to deepen your personal relationships in ways you haven't experienced before. We are going to dismantle the 3 layers of human connection: validation, support, and significance. You will walk away with the exact vocabulary needed to bridge the gap between 2 minds. This knowledge grants you a quiet, unshakable authority. You will no longer be the person fighting for attention. You will be the person others gravitate toward instinctively, because you provide the one thing everyone is starving for, the feeling that they matter. I am not here to give you platitudes or soft advice about being nice. We are going to discuss the mechanics of trust and the architecture of human connection. We will look at why good intentions often fail without the right delivery, and how to align your internal empathy with your external communication. This requires a shift in perspective, a move from trying to be interesting to being interested. It requires you to slow down when the world tells you to speed up. If you have ever felt the frustration of speaking without being heard, or if you want to become the kind of leader, partner, or friend who commands instant respect and loyalty, do not click away. If this resonates with your experience, stay with me until the very end. We exist in a paradox of unprecedented access and suffocating isolation, where we are constantly communicating, yet rarely communing. You likely navigate your days surrounded by noise, notifications pinging, colleagues chatting, endless social media feeds scrolling by, yet you return home feeling a hollowness that is difficult to articulate. It is the distinct, sharp ache of being physically present but emotionally invisible. Our modern dialogue has devolved into a transactional exchange of data, where people listen only to the extent that it serves their turn to speak. We throw words at one another like stones across a river, hoping they land, but mostly they just sink. You find yourself in conversations that feel more like competing monologues than dialogues, leaving you with the exhausted realization that while you were talking, the other person was merely reloading their own ammunition. Think about the last time you tried to share something vulnerable, a fear about your career, a frustration with your partner, or a quiet hope for the future. Did you feel the other person's attention drift? Did you see their eyes glaze over or watch them instinctively reach for their phone? That subtle rejection triggers a primal alarm in the brain, confirming a devastating suspicion that your inner world is a burden to others. This isn't just about being interrupted, it is about the erasure of your dignity in real time. You start to edit yourself, shrinking your stories and diluting your truths to make them more palatable for short attention spans. Eventually, you stop sharing altogether, retreating behind a wall of polite nods and "I'm fine," while a quiet resentment builds against a world that refuses to see you. The tragedy is that most of us try to solve this isolation with the wrong tools, believing that connection requires performance. We are taught that to be valued, we must be impressive, so we polish our armor, rehearse our accomplishments, and try to dazzle people with our competence. We exhaust ourselves trying to be the smartest or funniest person in the room, thinking that admiration is the same thing as connection. But admiration is distant, connection is intimate. By trying so hard to be enough, you actually create distance, because perfection is intimidating and relatable to no one. You end up with an audience that claps for your success but remains strangers to your soul. This performance trap is lonely, because even when they love the show, they don't know the actor standing behind the curtain. I want you to know that I understand this fatigue intimately because I have lived it. Standing in crowded rooms feeling completely alone. It is not a failure of your character. It is a symptom of a culture that has forgotten the art of witnessing another person. You are not lacking in worth. You are lacking in witnesses. The exhaustion you feel comes from carrying the weight of your life without anyone offering to help shoulder the load, even for a moment. But the solution isn't to shout louder or perform better. The solution is counterintuitive. To break this cycle of isolation, we have to stop trying to be interesting and start being the one thing the world has stopped producing, a safe harbor. We are about to flip the script entirely. The first pillar of profound connection begins with 3 simple words that disarm the primal brain. I understand you. Validation is the gateway to psychological safety, yet it is often confused with agreement. You do not have to agree with someone's logic to validate their emotional reality. When a person is distressed or passionate, they are not looking for a debate partner. They are looking for a witness to their experience. By saying I understand, you are signaling that their feelings are rational within the context of their perspective. This instantly lowers their cortisol levels and deactivates their defense mechanisms. Instead of preparing for a battle, they begin to view you as an ally. The moment you stop trying to correct their reality and start acknowledging it, you transform the entire dynamic of the interaction from adversarial to collaborative, creating a bridge where there was once a wall. Let's look at how this applies in the chaos of real life, where most people default to fixing rather than feeling. Imagine a colleague or partner venting about an overwhelming workload. The instinct is to say, just prioritize your list, which dismisses their stress. Instead, try pausing and reflecting their emotion back to them. I understand. It sounds like you feel completely underwater and that your efforts aren't being recognized. Watch their physical reaction when you say this. You will see their shoulders drop and their breathing deepen because the need to fight for their right to feel has evaporated. You have given them permission to be human. When you validate someone's pain without trying to sanitize it, you become more than a listener. You become a psychological refugee in a world that is constantly demanding them to get over it. However, there is a critical caveat that separates a leader from a manipulator. You must be radically authentic. The human bullshit detector is incredibly sophisticated, honed by millions of years of evolution to detect deception. If you utter the words, I understand you, while checking your watch or planning your grocery list, you will do more damage than if you had said nothing at all. Empathy cannot be faked because it is not a script. It is an energetic posture. If you cannot genuinely connect with their sentiment, it is better to remain silent than to offer a counterfeit validation. True connection requires you to step out of your own ego and momentarily inhabit their world. If you treat these phrases as a cheat code to get what you want, you will be exposed as a fraud, and trust will be shattered. This brings us to a moment of necessary reflection on your own intent in conversations. Are you listening to understand, or are you listening to reload your argument? Authentic presence requires a conscious choice to slow down and value the human in front of you more than the schedule in your pocket. It is about making the person feel that, for these few minutes, they are the only thing in the universe that matters to you. This level of focus is rare, and that is exactly why it is so magnetic. If this distinction between performing empathy and actually feeling it resonates with you, if you are tired of shallow interactions, I want you to pause and leave a comment below saying, I choose clarity. Let that be your commitment to stop acting and start connecting. Once the foundation of understanding is laid, you must build upon it with the second phrase, I support you. In our culture, we often mistake support for intervention. We think we need to be the hero who swoops in with the solution. But true support is not about fixing the problem for the other person. It is about standing with them while they face it themselves. It is the difference between saying, move aside, let me do it, and I am right here with you while you figure this out. This distinction empowers the other person rather than diminishing them. It signals that you trust their capability, but that you are offering your strength as a safety net. This kind of support fosters resilience and deep loyalty because it is rooted in respect, not condescension. Consider a friend navigating a personal crisis, perhaps a breakup or a career failure. They are likely inundated with unsolicited advice from people telling them what they should do. You can cut through that noise by simply asking, how can I best support you right now? And then actually doing it, even if the answer is just to sit in silence. When you say, I support you, and back it up with a non-anxious presence. You become an anchor in their storm. You aren't trying to rush their healing to make yourself feel comfortable. You are willing to sit in the dark with them until they are ready to find the light. That willingness to endure discomfort alongside someone else is the highest form of loyalty. This level of support requires a skill that has become nearly extinct, the art of listening without the intent to reply. True listening is an act of self-sacrifice because it requires you to suppress your ego's desire to be the smartest person in the room. It demands that you suspend your judgment and hold back your perfect story that relates to theirs. When you are formulating a response while they are still speaking, you aren't listening. You are waiting. To break this habit, you must train yourself to embrace the pause. When they finish speaking, count to 3 in your head before you say a word. That silence is not empty. It is heavy with respect. It shows you are digesting their words, treating them with the weight they deserve. Imagine being in a high-stakes meeting where everyone is talking over one another, desperate to prove their value. The person who commands the room is often the one who speaks last and speaks least. By listening intently to everyone else's chaotic input, synthesizing it, and then offering a measured response, you demonstrate a control that screams authority. The person who felt heard by you will instinctively trust your leadership because you gave them the courtesy of your full attention. People do not follow the loudest voice. They follow the one that makes them feel understood. When you listen to understand rather than to respond, your words carry 10 times the weight because they are informed by the reality of the room, not just the noise in your head. The final component of this triad is the phrase that answers the deepest existential question every human carries. You matter. We are all navigating life with a secret fear that we are insignificant, that if we disappeared tomorrow, the machinery of the world would grind on without a hiccup. To explicitly tell someone, "You matter to me," or "Your contribution here is vital," is to feed a starving soul. It validates their existence and gives them a sense of purpose. This goes beyond flattery. It is about recognizing the specific, unique value that a person brings to your life or your team. When you make someone feel significant, you unlock a level of motivation and dedication that money simply cannot buy. This doesn't always require a grand speech. Often, it is found in the minutiae of memory. It is the power of the callback. Imagine running into an acquaintance you haven't seen in a month and asking, "Hey, how did that presentation go that you were worried about?" The shock on their face will be palpable. You remembered. In a world of short attention spans, remembering a detail about someone's life is a radical act of care. It proves that they occupy real estate in your mind even when they aren't present. That small gesture creates a permanent bookmark in their memory, labeling you as someone who actually sees them, not just someone who uses them. The ultimate key to making these 3 phrases work, understanding, support, and significance, is to offer them with absolutely no strings attached. We are conditioned to view relationships as transactional. I give you a compliment, you give me a favor. But transactional generosity is just business. It breeds suspicion, not trust. True influence is born when you offer validation and support without waiting for the receipt. When you dignify someone simply because they are human, not because of what they can do for you, you disrupt the standard social contract. This is unreasonable kindness, and it is the kind that sticks in the psyche long after the conversation ends. Try to do something meaningful for someone today. Listen to a boring story without interrupting, praise a subordinate publicly, or offer help without being asked, and then let it go. Do not mention it, do not tweet about it, and do not expect a thank you. This secret generosity builds a reservoir of internal character that people can sense. When you operate from a place of abundance, needing nothing in return, you become a magnet. People trust you because they know you aren't trying to extract value from them. You are there to add value to them. That is the definition of charisma, leaving every person you meet feeling a little better about themselves than they did before they met you. Picture yourself sitting across from a close friend who has just lost their job. The air is thick with anxiety and shame. He is spiraling, talking a mile a minute, listing every excuse and justification for why it happened, his eyes darting around the room to avoid yours. He expects you to jump in with unsolicited advice, to tell him to update his resume immediately, or to offer the tired, everything happens for a reason cliché. But you don't. You resist the urge to fix the situation. Instead, you lean in, hold his gaze, and let him run out of steam. When the silence finally hangs between you for 3 long seconds, you speak slowly and deliberately. "I understand you. It must be exhausting to feel like the ground is constantly shifting under your feet." The effect is instantaneous and physical. He stops fidgeting. His shoulders collapse, not in defeat, but in pure relief. For the first time in the conversation, he actually takes a deep breath. You have validated his pain instead of dismissing it. Then you follow up with the second anchor. "I support you. I don't have a magic wand to fix this today, but I am here with you for whatever you need, even if it's just to sit here and say nothing." He looks at you, genuinely surprised. He was bracing for judgment or pity, but instead he found a partner. The frantic energy dissipates, replaced by a quiet, shared connection that feels solid and real. He realizes he doesn't have to perform for you. Finally, you deliver the closing truth that he needs to hear most right now. You look him in the eye and say, "And listen, you matter, not because of your job title or your salary, but because of who you are to me." He doesn't say anything back immediately, but you see the shift in his eyes. In that moment, the dynamic changes forever. You haven't solved his unemployment, but you have solved his isolation. By using these 3 simple bridges, understanding, support, and significance, you transformed a moment of potential shame into a moment of profound dignity. This is the power you hold in every interaction, the ability to make someone feel seen and safe in a chaotic world. The journey from feeling invisible to becoming a person of profound influence is not about becoming louder. It is about becoming clearer. We spend years operating under the illusion that connection is a performance art, a complex dance where we must constantly impress to be worthy of love or respect. But the truth is starkly different and far more liberating. Real power is not found in the monologue you deliver. It is found in the silence you offer to another human being. When you stop trying to project your own importance and start illuminating theirs, the entire dynamic shifts. You move from being merely a contact in their phone to being a confidant in their life. It is the fundamental shift from a transactional world, where everyone is keeping score, to a relational world, where you are building a legacy of unshakable trust. This is the difference between having 1,000 followers and having the one friend who would answer your call at 3 a.m. without hesitation. You must realize that you are the architect of the emotional environment around you. Every time you genuinely say, "I understand, I support you," or "you matter," you are not just speaking words. You are handing someone a mirror that reflects their best self back to them. Most people walk around carrying cracked mirrors, seeing only their distortions, flaws, and failures. You have the power to be the clear glass. When you dignify someone, you aren't just being polite. You are giving them permission to step into their own potential. It is a quiet, unassuming superpower. While the rest of the world is screaming for attention, you are the one whispering validation. And paradoxically, that whisper is the only thing loud enough to be heard over the deafening noise of modern life. You become the signal in the static. This path is not a technique for the weak. It requires the immense strength of humility. It takes courage to lower your defenses, set aside your ego, and let someone else be the focus of the universe for a moment. But the reward is a life rich with deep, unbreakable bonds that weather any storm. You are choosing to be a rarity, a person of substance in a superficial age. You are choosing to be the antidote to the loneliness epidemic that plagues our society. This is a conscious decision to operate on a higher frequency of humanity. If you are ready to stop playing social games and start building real, tangible influence, I want you to make that declaration right now. Repeat this with me. Internally or aloud, I choose lucidity. Let that be the mantra that guides every interaction you have from this moment forward. We have traveled a considerable distance together, moving from the cold reality of modern isolation to the warm potential of genuine human connection. You now hold in your hands the 3 architectural pillars of trust: the validation that says, "I see you," the support that says, "I am with you," and the affirmation that says, "You matter." These are not merely phrases to be memorized. They are instruments of empathy that, when played with sincerity, can dismantle walls that have stood for years. You no longer need to rely on the exhausting masquerade of trying to be interesting or impressive to win people over. You have discovered that the most magnetic quality you can possess is the willingness to make others feel significant. The promise of this journey was never about changing who you are, but about revealing who you can be for others, a sanctuary in a noisy world. Now, the responsibility shifts from my voice to your actions. The world is crowded with people who are starving for the kind of presence you are now equipped to give. Colleagues, partners, and friends who are waiting to be truly seen. Do not let this insight fade into the background as just another piece of content you consumed. Let it be the catalyst for a fundamental shift in how you move through your life. If this message has resonated with your experience and given you a new perspective on relationships, I invite you to seal this commitment with a symbolic action. Share this with someone who needs to understand the power of listening, or simply leave a comment below declaring, "I choose to act with clarity." Your interaction is the final step in this transformation. Step out and be the connection you seek.